Welcome to Radiant Mom Rising. Get ready to be inspired, empowered, and uplifted. I'm your host, Mary Dibble, and in each episode, we dive into amazing stories, insights, and conversations that help moms like you chase your dreams and embrace your worth. Let's rise and shine together. Have you ever noticed how often we put our lives on hold while we wait to feel ready? Maybe you've caught yourself thinking, once I'm more confident, then I'll do it. Then I'll start the business. Then I'll share my voice online. Then I'll have the hard conversation. Then I'll finally go after what I really want. But what if confidence isn't something that arrives before the action? What if it's something that's built because of the action? And that's exactly where today's conversation goes. Today, I'm joined by the amazing Mary, Beth, and Shauna, and together we're unpacking one of the biggest myths women believe about confidence, because confidence isn't about having zero fear. It's not about being the loudest person in the room, and it's definitely not about having everything perfectly figured out. Real confidence is about when you learn to trust yourself, when you keep showing up, when you honor your values, when you take the next step, even when it feels uncomfortable. So if you've been following the conversation we've been having around identity, growth, and becoming the woman you're meant to be, this episode is such an important piece of that puzzle. Because the truth is, most transformations don't start with confidence. They start with courage, and confidence grows along the way. All right, let's get into it.
Welcome back to another talk show style episode with my friends Shauna and Mary. Today, we are going to talk about confidence and how it is often misunderstood and kind of what confidence looks like and all the things. So, before we dive in, let's start with some introductions. Ladies,
My name is Shauna B. I am a coach for women to get out of the busyness hamster wheel and get back to them and start rechecking in with them. I have a podcast, Release Your Inner Power podcast. I'm a mom of 3 with a bonus child and an adventure seeker.
Awesome. And I'm Mary Dibble. I'm a wife, mom of 3, life coach, and host of the Radiant Mom Rising podcast. And I'm here to help moms reclaim their energy, their time, their joy, and really work to create the lives that they love and deserve.
I love it. You guys are awesome. And I am Mary Beth of the Fierce Framework podcast. I am a coach for ADHD solopreneurs who are looking to reduce overwhelm and figure out their priorities and help them execute a strategy to overcome the challenges in their businesses. So let's get down to it and talk about confidence. I feel like there's often this misunderstanding that confidence is like this loud, like, I don't give a shit what anybody else thinks energy. And I don't think that that necessarily has to be true. So I wanted to kind of like open up the conversation and maybe start with like, what does confidence mean to you? Do you think that confidence is like a really an important factor, or just to kind of like ease us into this?
Jesus.
Whatever.
I mean, we can ease. We can ease. Let's
Just
see.
dive on in, Shauna. Don't listen to me.
Well, I believe that confidence is the belief in yourself to be able to do something. That's what I like to think confidence is. I think that there is a huge like societal stigma that we're probably taught at a very young age that if you it's tricky, right? Like if you're confident, then you all of a sudden think you're like better than everybody else, but that's not confidence, that's ego. There's a huge difference. And so I think that we can get stuck in thinking like, oh, I can't, like I can't celebrate myself. I can't say, heck yeah, look what I just did and like be proud of the accomplishment that you did because there's so much stigma on that of being an asshole, really. But it's
Yeah.
not, it's not. Confidence is the ability to believe in yourself to do something whether and we should be able to celebrate that and be okay
Mhm.
with celebrating that and not in a way of I'm boasting about myself because I think like why does it always go to that? Why does it always go to, oh, that person thinks they're better than me because they did something and accomplished something they've been working hard on? That doesn't even make sense to me. And
Why does it
so
always go to that?
I think that's more of a projection for people who wish they had the courage to do the things that you did. And so therefore
Mhm.
they like to bring you down a little bit for it. And that's probably where that stemmed from.
or maybe doesn't even realize they don't even realize. They don't even realize it's
Yeah.
confidence or courage or anything. Like they have
Yeah.
zero, like you have to stop and check in to know what that even is. And if you haven't noticed that or identified that, you aren't even going to see that. Then you're stuck right here in this judgmental
Yeah.
trench, if you will,
Mhm.
instead of like, where's this really coming from and backing it up. It's interesting because I'm doing a confidence building right now with my kiddos. And there's these little teeny weeny steps that they can do each day to like try to do it. And it's all about believing in themselves when things are hard or
Mhm.
continuing to do something when maybe you don't think at first you're like, I'm not sure if I can do this. Like, how do you set yourself up with things and have a foundation where you can rely on tools to push forward through the thing that might seem scary or can I do it or how do I get there? Those types
Mhm.
of things.
Yeah. And I think there's this like belief that so many people have that you have to be confident before you take action, but it's through the action that you gain the confidence because no one's gonna show up and know how to do all the things or talk even the right way or about the right things when they're first getting started. But it's through that
Mhm.
courage that you will gain the confidence in yourself. Like you say, you couldn't have said it better, Shauna, with the whole belief. It's truly is it boils down to the belief in yourself and what you're capable of and what you're willing to do no matter what.
I love that. And I love how you frame it's like it's basically a body of evidence that you've
Yeah.
built through being courageous enough to take the action. And then you look back at the confidence
Yeah.
and you're like, well, I can do that because I literally like just did that. And so, yeah, I think that for me, like that's been a really important factor of confidence to talk about because that's part of why I got into coaching is people will be like, "Oh, you're so confident. Like, I wish I could be like you." Like, no. And I'm like, I don't feel confident. Like, what is this? What is this thing that people think that I have? And then like getting into like, do people really want to be confident or do they just want to like feel the lack of insecurity? And I'm like, because I think a lot of the times we conflate those two, that thinking that being confident is like feeling good about yourself all the time. And you can believe that you can do something and like have that faith in yourself and your ability without like feeling good about it necessarily. And so like the more I've gotten into it, I'm like, I think you want to feel good. Like I don't necessarily know if you want to be confident because that takes courage and then you have to like do the action and do the scary things. Like, is that what you want? Anyway, sorry,
I
kind of
feel
was
I feel like when you say they don't want to feel like the insecurity, I think that's a really good statement because a lot of people don't, they may not even know it's insecurity. They just know that the feeling sucks and they don't want to have the feeling. And
yeah.
so they'll either do the judgment thing because then they don't, they're like, right, they're pitching it and they don't have
Yeah.
to do the hard thing, but then they wish at the same time they could do the hard thing. Like, oh, I wish I could be like that. I wish I could
Yeah.
be confident like you. Okay, but what does that mean? Like, what does that mean for you?
Right.
Because confidence for like you, Mary Beth, and you, Mary, is going to look very different than confidence for me. And we each have our own level of belief in ourselves. And nobody wants to feel like crap. Like, nobody wants to feel
Yeah.
those things, but that's information. What is it telling you? Why are you feeling that? If somebody's rocking it and doing something, and you're like, man, I wish I had confidence like
Yeah.
you. Open
Mhm.
door,
Yeah.
open door. Like you
Yeah.
just got a massive hit of information of I want that. So, what's the next step? You don't have to like jump through the door all like, hello, you don't have to do
Yeah.
that, but you can just be like, oh, let's see. What is that about? Why do I feel that? Why do I want that? And just be
Yeah.
curious around that in order to stick a toe in or take the next step towards the door.
I think that's so good because I think that a lot of the time, not always, of course, but like I think a lot of the time it goes hand in hand with the projection because if it's hard for you, but you're doing it anyway, then I have to kind of look at myself and be like, oh, well, it is possible. So why am I not doing that? Is it really too hard? Is it really impossible? Or is it just a process that, is going to be a lot of work and I haven't decided if I want to put in the work yet? And so I think a lot of the time too, like we prescribe confidence to somebody else and then we treat it as if it's like an inherent ability to do that thing easily. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you're so confident, so that must be easy for you.
Mhm.
And if I was
Yeah.
confident, then it would be easy for me, and then I could do it. But I'm not, so I can't.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Like,
Yeah.
good. That was
That's very
good.
good. That was
Yeah.
good. Hmm.
not how it works. Like, like, well, yeah. Let me let Mary talk. Sorry.
Oh no, no, you nailed it on, you nailed it because it's true. I mean, I think again, it's like we have these people that we look at and we're like, oh my gosh, I want a life like that. I want to be like her. And I love to change the narrative of comparison to being like
Mm-hmm.
just seeing what's the evidence of what's possible. But
Mm-hmm.
like you say, sometimes we don't think about that. Like that is the ultimate um thing that keeps us that holds so many of us back is the idea of like what did it take for her to get there and am I willing to do it even though it's going to look
Yeah.
different like you say everyone's
Yeah.
path is different but that's still scary in itself. There's so much
Mm-hmm.
uncertainty. There's so much like, I don't know what it's really going to take, but I think we need to stop focusing so much on that. And that's where the belief in ourselves of just taking it
Mm-hmm.
one step at a time. I mean, you guys don't realize like how powerful baby steps are, like, especially
Yeah.
when you're getting started on anything new that you're trying. It's very powerful to just take a step back and
Mm-hmm.
just take it one little thing at a time and you're gonna find your way. I was just sharing today on a live like an analogy of like Moana. For those of you who've ever seen Moana, I love the powerful message in that of where she
Mm-hmm.
had this calling and she knew it, but everything was against her. She doubted herself. She had no idea what she was doing when she decided to go anyways. There was even one time she was like, I'm not right for this. And in the end, she decided to do it and go for it anyways, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped her become who she was meant to be all along and what
Yeah.
she needed to do. And I think that's the kind of the journey and how we feel a lot of those times in that messy middle is that like, oh my gosh, like this is harder than I thought. This is a lot more than I thought it was going to take, and it just feels too much.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a sense of like not overwhelming yourself and getting that support. And in the end, too, deciding who do you need to be in order
Yeah.
to achieve this result. Because that really helps you with like rechecking yourself and motivating and gaining that right clarity and momentum to keep
Mm-hmm.
going even through the messy stuff.
I think that's super important here because a lot of people get stuck with the unknown. Well, I
Yeah.
don't know what that step's going to do. I don't know where I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
end up. I have this journey and this calling I'm supposed to do, but I don't know. And so it instantly it's like and they don't want to like do the thing just because they don't have a whole map of do steps 1 through 25 and you are there. Like that
Yeah.
is not real life. That's
No.
not real
It's
life,
not. I
you
hate it,
know?
but it's not.
Yes.
I
It's not, I
know.
mean, yeah, I mean, think about the moment like when she's on the raft and she has no idea what she's doing. And it's like when she gave it to like, she put it out there to the ocean, I guess you could say, to guide her. It's like when we talk about giving it to God or giving it,
Mm-hmm.
letting it go. It's like that's what it means. It's like she kind of put that trust of like, I don't have all the answers, whatever. And what came? A freaking storm, right?
Right.
A storm
Yeah.
showed up and said, so you're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
But that's what sent her to where her next destination was meant to be. So it's like all of that works together, like you say, of just like allowing ourselves to see it differently.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't care who you are, where you're at. I think there's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be crap that shows up and unexpected shit, all that stuff that just is going to try to bring you down and keep and hold you back from stepping into who you're meant to be. And it's at the end of the day, though, it's up to you. Are you going to let it or are you going to find your way through it?
Is it holding you back though?
Exactly. That's a great
Is it
question.
holding you back, or is it a challenge to see what you choose or
Hmm.
design next for yourself? Right? Because things will come up, and I hate to use the word test, but that's what's coming out right now. But it's almost
It
like
feels like it.
it's almost like a test of like, okay, like the storm. She could just be like, okay, lay on the raft. I'm done. Storm, take me, whatever. Or you're gonna go down fighting and being like, I'm gonna get through the storm because I know what I'm doing, or I believe I can get to the other side, or what have you. And she
Mm-hmm.
fought all the way through. All the way through.
Mm-hmm.
Even when things were tossing her around and crazy stuff was happening, she still fought all the way through. But she needed to have that storm in order to take her to where she needed to go. And
Exactly.
so a lot of times we fight the freaking storm. We
Yeah.
get so caught up in it, right? That
Yeah.
it's like what you said, Mary, you have to take a second and like be with it. Like be with it. You know you can get to the other
Yes.
side. And that's what I was saying about looking at past accomplishments or looking at stuff that can build you that foundation to pull you through the challenge or the storm that comes up so you know you can get to the other side instead of just giving up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
It's
I also love like how you're talking about, the test or, whatever you want to call it. And
The journey.
it's yeah, I'm like it's really part of the process, right? Because Mary was talking about it too, of how it's a process and you're actually like becoming that person. And I think like that is something that we skip over a lot of the time, especially with confidence. It's not something you're just like born with or don't have. Like it's not black and white of you have it or you don't have it. It's one of those things that like you piece together and you build it. Like you were both saying like you take the courage and you do the scary thing and then you like have that evidence that you can do that and you're building it like brick by brick. And I think that a lot of the time we overlook like how those storms and the process itself and those hard things like are helping us literally develop the characteristics and become the person that we need to be like in confidence as well, but then just in like so many other things, right? Because in Moana too there was another storm, right? So like who's to say the first one didn't prepare her for the second one, or like
yes.
yeah, I just love that you guys brought that up.
Yeah.
It's funny how I'm gonna say it. It's funny how many things that can happen in our life that we can use as an excuse to not do the hard thing.
Absolutely.
And when it comes up, it's like, oh, no, I can't do it. When I'm not feeling it, or it's just not happening today. And it's so important to really check yourself, right? Am I really not feeling it today, or am I just saying it because I don't want to have to do the thing? Because eventually you're gonna have to do something.
Yeah.
So do you want to decide to do nothing and then you already know how tomorrow's gonna be the same? Or are you gonna try to do something different, even if it's a little teeny step to the right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then now, okay, things are a little bit different, a little bit different. Like you don't have to do leaps and bounds. I think we get
Yeah.
stuck there too, right? Like we
Yeah.
want the change to happen so fast. We want to get to the end, to the known thing fast and not get there through the journey that we have to take. And with that, I think because of the unknown, it's like more fear. And so break it down. Like if you're focused on the end and you're like, I want this, and you don't believe that you can do it. Okay, then it's too big. It's fine. You still have the end. That's what you want, but break it down smaller. And if
Mhm.
you don't feel like you can do that, break it down smaller. You don't feel like you can do that, break it down smaller. You can break one thing down so small that when you take the step or stick a toe in, you're almost like, am I even doing anything? You are
Yeah.
because you're
Yeah.
like a millimeter closer than you were before. But if that's what it takes in the beginning to build up that belief and trust in yourself to take those little millimeters, eventually you're going to be like, hold up, I can take a whole step right now, or I can
Yes.
take a leap right now, or I feel like
Mhm.
I can do this. And the belief in self and the confidence builds and builds by those little
Yes.
things.
Yeah.
So you can do the leaps and you can do the stuff eventually. And sometimes you might take a big leap and then you're like, oh,
Yeah.
back to the little steps. Hold on. It's a little scary over here, and then you
Hmm.
take the little teeny steps again to then get there. You will get there. You
Yeah.
will
Hmm.
get there because time is
Yeah.
always moving. Your life
Yeah.
is always going. You're
Yeah.
always going to make it to, tomorrow. But how do you want to do today for a different tomorrow?
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Me too.
Yeah, and like I think a lot of the time we discount like how much we're growing during that process.
Mm.
And I love how you said like you take small steps, but then you work up to bigger steps. Like that's the point of growing your confidence. Like you're building it and you have more. It's like building a muscle. And somebody said, I think it was a TikTok, and they were talking about the importance of choosing the size of your scary, basically. And you're talking about like breaking down, taking a big goal, right? And then breaking it down. And it's like you can break it down to match the measure of your courage now. Or, if you can break it down small enough to where it's not even scary to take that first baby step, then amazing, right? But it's like you don't need to force yourself to leap and do all or nothing at once and like traumatize yourself, right? Like, so most of the time we can break something down to where it's like, yeah, it's a little scary, it's a stretch, but it's not so huge that it's going to break me.
Yeah.
And so that was really helpful for me of like finding the size of your scary where that next step is going to like stretch you and challenge you and work that
Yeah.
muscle of courage and building confidence. But it's not something that's like so huge where if you fail, like it's going to ruin the rest of your life. But then like as you're doing those small steps, your capacity grows and your confidence grows. And so the bigger steps start feeling the same as the small steps because you're more capable. And I think that like that's so powerful because so often we like look at somebody else doing big things and we're like, "Oh my gosh, I could never do that." And it's like their capacity might be bigger because of the way that they've been practicing. You doing a baby step for you might feel just as scary and might take just as much courage as something bigger for them, but it's like that's because you're on your own journey or you're earlier on in the journey or like whatever it is, but it's like you're not going to be at this level of courage and like this level of confidence forever if you're constantly working towards it or if you're, consistently working towards it. Like you're going to grow and you're going to have more capability because like you're literally building it as you're doing these scary things.
Absolutely. I mean, I would just challenge anyone listening. If there's one person right now that you like absolutely look up to, you love the way they show up, you love their energy, you love like how confident they are, their success or whatnot, I challenge you to go learn about how they were when they first started. Like check out
Seriously.
some of their first stuff, like how their first podcast looked or how their first videos showed up. I had this one woman that I followed who did that. Like she actually showed people like what she looked like when she first started. And it was weird because it was like, oh my God, she looked just like an everyday person. Like,
Yeah.
she stumbled on her words. She had this like her husband doing like on her phone videos, like just a real woman, simple, normal, everyday person doing just showing up. And then, but you look at her now and you're like, holy crap, she's the queen of this. Like everyone knows her as this version of herself. But look at where she started and what it took for her to get to that point. And that's what I think we need to remember along this journey is that every little bit that we do is all preparing us so that if you say
Mhm.
that we have the capacity to handle that, because if she was handed
Mhm.
that kind of success back then, that version of her would have like stumbled. She was like, she would have been able to handle the thousands of people that sign up for her programs. She wasn't ready for that. And neither are you sometimes on your journey, and that's okay. Like,
Yeah.
be good with that and understand like you won't ever get to that level though if like you say if you don't push yourself in times, get a little out of your comfort zone, but also just like
Mhm.
break it down with what works for you and stop trying to almost mimic everyone else because you're so ready for it and you're just not. And that's okay. I think that we just need to honor that and be real.
Yeah.
I think that there's a couple of pieces too that are super important. One of them is Mary Beth, when you said, the person's looking at the other person, they're like, I can't do that. That right there is your dragon swooping in to tell you that you can't. So it is keeping you from doing the thing and breaking down your confidence.
Mm.
And so your inner critic, the dragon, it can keep you stuck because it wants to be in the familiar. It does not want to be in the change or the different. And so
Mm.
if you are growing or if you're trying to do something different, it's going to say that to keep you where it knows what it wants, right? And so it's interesting if you pay attention to that and see if there is something and you see something instead of saying like I can never do that, you got to flip the script with that because it
Mhm.
leads into my next point of what are the stories that you are telling yourself. If you are telling yourself that you can do this and I can do this and I can do this but I can't do that and I can't do this and I can't do that and then you have reasons why, whose story
Mhm.
is that? Is that truly your story or is that just a story you've been telling yourself to keep you in the familiar, keep you in the same
Yeah.
spot? That also is a confidence like sabotage. So think of it in two ways. One, if there's negative things that your inner critic is saying to you to keep you stuck and you're living your life for your inner critic, you're not living your life. You're just staying. So if you have statements like I can't do that, how can you flip the script in that to make a statement to where you can?
Mm. Mhm.
Like I can take one step closer to that. It doesn't have to
Mhm.
be the same thing, but it's like pumping yourself up, being your own cheerleader, that type of situation.
Mhm.
You are up here with yourself, right? And so you got to flip the script to quiet that inner critic so you know what you are capable of. It builds your confidence by quieting that down. And when you get into the stories of what you want, like if you can get into detail of what story you actually want, and some people are so busy they haven't even taken the time to know what the heck they even want.
Right.
They're too busy in like 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Oh shit, I gotta make dinner. Did I even pull the meat out to defrost? Like all this stuff. Like you get stuck in this hamster wheel of things that what story do I have? I have a story. I have something I want to do. And then you're like, what? I can't do that because I don't have time. Okay. How are we going to change the story? How are we going to change it to make it to where you can get to this goal that you want to do? It could be something as like, I just want a freaking clean house for X amount of time because that's a real thing. And, or, I want to go on a vacation that seems impossible, or I want to take X amount of days off just from whatever, just to be with my family or just by myself. Any of those things are completely possible and you can make it as big as you want. But starting with what you actually want to achieve
Yeah.
and having that story, not with negative, you can't do this, and flipping the script is going to build your confidence and that foundation to pull from when your voice comes up, when the inner critic comes up, or when something hard happens where you're like, this again, I have to pay for my car to break down. Now I'm not going to be able to go on this vacation. Pause, right? Back up. What story? Yes, this is a dip, right? That doesn't mean you're not going to go on the vacation. It might mean a few months later. It doesn't mean
Mhm.
it's not happening, right? Or it might mean, it might mean, oh, I'm going to have to shimmy my finances a little bit. It doesn't mean no. But those are the tests and the stories and the inner critic things that come up that can help you with that confidence. Those foundational things are going to be able to build it to get you to where you want to be.
Absolutely. I mean, that's awesome. That's very powerful. I mean, there's so much of that that you can take in any moment because my goodness, that's the one thing I realize even personally. It's like even no matter how much you could be doing right or you feel like you're on track for something, it's like anything can happen. And at any moment that can make you feel like all of a sudden that's just being taken away from you
Mhm.
and it's important to remember your why, remember that vision of what you're working towards and trusting too. Trust is such a hard thing, I feel like. I know for me personally, that was one of the hardest things on this work that I realized is how little I trusted myself.
Yeah.
And that has been the most impactful transformation is doing that work and
Mhm.
learning to trust myself again and believe in myself again that I in a way that I lost a long time ago. I feel like as a kid, man, like you have this sense of natural confidence to do whatever
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you just it's like God, do they think about yourself as a kid again? I love it because it's like I just think about how just I would try out for anything, I would do all this and it's like look how society and our environment just over time shut us down and just like breaks
Mhm.
that part of us and then we just lose her, we lose
Mhm.
that. I mean, we become adults who now live in this like oh we have to be realistic and oh we can we're
Yeah.
not allowed to dream big and all this stuff and I think so many of us are pushing to be like no we get to dream big. I don't care who you are, where you're at, what you do. I've seen people in their 70s like releasing their book finally and doing
Yeah.
the thing that they've always dreamed of. So I don't even want to hear that it's like too late for me or that I'm too busy. I hear that one all the time, of course, but it's like,
Mhm.
it's just a matter of what do you really want and what are you willing to do?
Mm-hmm.
Because there is work. There's always going to be work one
Oh,
way or another,
yeah.
right? Why not work towards something that is going to light you up and feel good and help you get
Yes.
to where you want to go sooner?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's so powerful that you mentioned self-trust, and I think that's so critical because like we're talking about if confidence is believing in yourself, then you have to
Yeah.
be able to trust
Yes.
yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's like even more bedrock. Do you have like a couple of nuggets to share about how you started trusting yourself again? Because I think that's a really common struggle.
So for me, the biggest work was, and I will say this, is learning how to feel your feelings. I think all of us, when you're growing up, you're taught to suppress your feelings. Get over it. You're
Even
over.
girls.
Yeah.
Like, I
Oh,
think
yeah.
as we're encouraging men to do that more and realizing like how much
We had
we've
it in our own
damaged
way.
men,
Yeah.
it's
Oh yeah.
okay,
We
sorry.
we were taught, yeah, think about it. As a young girl, you're taught how to be good, how to behave,
Yes,
how
yes.
to change to make sure that no one else is isn't uncomfortable. So we always we're not allowed to process our feelings. And when I started doing this work of like really sitting in the discomfort of my feelings and not running from it, there was a huge practice and transformation in itself of allowing me to learn how to process my feelings and move through them rather
Mm,
than shoving them down and just keep pushing through it and
mhm,
allowing it to build and build and build until I exploded. And through that process of like really sitting with my feelings, it actually allowed me to learn more about myself, understanding my patterns, my triggers, my inner child. And when you work on reframing that stuff and learning to face it really helps you to again start trusting yourself and start realizing, oh my gosh, yeah, like I've had it all along within me. Now I'm
mhm,
just allowing it to be a little bit louder than the other loud voice, like you say, that dragon that's always constantly trying to keep me stuck instead of going for what I know I'm meant for. So yeah, that it's I know there's so much that I work in within this, but it truly is like allowing yourself to reconnect with yourself again
mhm,
and learn more about yourself and taking that time to really do that inner work will help you with learning to trust yourself again. And it's very powerful.
mhm,
I have a nugget for self-trust.
Yeah. Oh,
Anytime that you honor yourself, you're building that trust. So
mhm,
whether you say, like, let's say somebody invites you somewhere and you're like, I don't want to go to, like, you get the hit of, like, I don't want to go to that, but you say yes because you don't want to disappoint the person instead of honoring yourself, right? When you say no, when you get the hit and say, no, I can't, no, I can't make it, you don't have to go into explaining it and all that stuff. But when you do that, you're building self-trust because you're honoring yourself. You're not sacrificing yourself for someone else. Things like rest, like I'm really tired today. For example, yesterday morning, I got up and I had all these things I was gonna do. And within 30 minutes, I could not even keep my eyes open. Like I was so tired. I sat there for a second and I was like, what do I really need here? And I'm like, I need to
mhm,
take a nap. Yes, I just woke up 2 hours ago, but I'm not able to do this right now. And
mhm,
so I honored myself and went to bed and slept instead of
yep,
pushing through,
yep,
sacrificing
yep,
myself
yep.
to do the things that were on the list. That list is always going to be there. That list never
mhm,
goes away. But every little tiny thing of saying no, of resting, of, oh, I'm not making dinner tonight. We're going to eat out or whatever, like, because I
mhm,
don't have the energy. So things honoring yourself of what is actually there is going
Mhm.
to build that self trust up more and more and more and more just by actually listening to yourself. When
Yeah.
you
mhm,
decide to sacrifice yourself for somebody else, it makes it smaller.
Yep.
Let's keep building it up and building it up. It's okay. You want to build here. You want to build
Yes.
here
mhm,
with yourself first so you have more for everyone else, for your family, for your people around you, for your clients, for whoever. If you don't build you, you're just going to be running on empty and then they're not really getting the best version of who you are.
Yeah.
absolutely. I think that's so good. I love how you mentioned the honoring yourself. And then I feel like that ties into what you were saying, Mary, of like having like your true self, like your voice being a little bit louder. Because I think that well, and like for me personally, like I used to think that being confident was just like not giving a shit what anybody else thought. And as someone who like cares deeply, like that was really hard for me. And it also doesn't really align with my values. Like I do care about other people. As I've been growing and along this journey, I've amended like how I think of confidence as more of like I can still care what other people think, but I'm not so concerned about what they think to where I'm putting how they think about me over how I think about myself.
Mhm.
And so I love like you mentioning a little bit louder and like that's what's helped me is like as long as I'm listening to me first, I also care about other people. especially, like the people in my life, right? But
Mhm.
I'm not going to let like their opinions dictate what I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's so perfect with what you said, Sean, of like honoring yourself. Like,
Okay.
I'm still going to be considerate and care about your feelings and how my actions impact you. And like, of course, especially, it's friends and family that you're doing life together. Like, yeah, I honor you as well in our relationship, but it's like I'm honoring myself and putting my values and who I want to be ahead of what everybody else wants me to be. And like I can still care and I can still be considerate and I can still be open to input. And I care more about what I think about myself than what anybody else thinks about me. And so like that has been a really powerful reframe for me to be able to like
Yeah.
not have to completely get to this point where like, yeah, I just don't care what anybody else thinks at all. Like it doesn't matter to me at all. Like to me that was unattainable. And I was like I was trying to pretend I did and I was like trying to be that person and I was like, that's not it.
Oh man, good for you for finding that way. Because I feel like that's like almost like that saying that people say as they get older. Like as you get older, you just stop caring what people think. But I'm like,
Yeah.
why do you even to be like that? Like, because especially for me, I grew up as a people pleaser, so that was definitely not
Same.
going to happen. Like,
Yeah.
but you're right. Like that's a whole honoring yourself, doing this kind of work of really being honest with yourself of what you're feeling and allowing yourself to feel the feelings. Like all of this work right here builds you to this point of confidence in
Hmm.
yourself, like where you don't you your tolerance changes, your
Hmm.
boundaries, you setting boundaries like happens more, you just showing up differently.
Hmm.
It all connects to each other, and that could look differently for so many people. Some people like take on things like yoga or meditation, which are great exercises for yourself to really like give yourself that time to get to know yourself. So
Hmm.
there's so many different ways you can go about it. But I mean, just finding what works for you that allows you that time to really check in with yourself and reconnect with yourself is crucial in going through all the ups and downs that life has to throw at you.
I'm gonna do another spin here.
Beautiful.
Love it.
Just,
So what are your guys' thoughts on, when as you get older,
oh yeah.
I don't care what other people think. Okay, so is it really that, or is it your time is getting shorter? Or is it's starting to get real for you because you might have just effed around for the last 25 years or 30 years of your life, and then you're like, oh, I'm over 40. Like, it's
Mhm.
got to get real. Like, am I just going to keep doing this, or do I really want to get the thing or the job or the, whatever? And then you start, it's like not really pressure, but in a way you start checking yourself because the not caring what everybody else thinks. What if you've been a self-sacrificing person this whole time?
Yeah.
And the general statement is you don't care about what anybody else thinks, but that's not really what's going on. Because I do think by and large, people are a lot like you, Mary Beth, where they care about people. It's just that they're making their voice a little bit louder, like their importance of what actually they want because of so many things. I mean, there could have been life events that have happened to like,
Hmm.
I know for me personally, if somebody passes away in my life, it throws a whole thing in my face of what is important. What do you
Yeah.
want?
Yeah.
You never know what, like, are you going to work for it, or are you just going to
Mm.
wake up, do the thing, go to bed, wake up, do the thing, go to bed? Like, I mean, if you want to do
Yeah, yeah.
that, you can do that, but it sounds pretty meh to me
Yeah.
versus getting up and seeing how you can do something different. And so I think that statement's interesting, right? Like, is it truly not caring about what people think, or is it just because you start realizing, like, I can't sacrifice myself anymore
Yeah.
because I only got like X amount of time left and I need to be making some like heck yeah moments in my life here
Yeah.
of I accomplished that and I did that and I went on the trip and I tried to do
Hmm.
this. And so it seems like that, but that's not
Hmm.
really true.
I mean, I think it can be both. I think it depends on the person, and I think that's part of what I think the conflation of the two is part of what throws people off with confidence so much. Because I think like everybody's going to handle that realization a different way, right? When you wake up, if we're using like the age example, right? You wake up and all of a sudden, like you feel like whatever age that is for you, right? You feel
Yeah.
like you're old and your life is passing you by. You're like, oh, holy shit. And I think that you can handle it and be like, well, fuck everybody else. I've been living for them my whole life and like they got their turn and now I don't give a shit. Because there are people who go through the world being incredibly inconsiderate of other people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I don't
Yep.
think that's confidence. I think that's selfish
Yeah.
assholism. Um, and like that's part of what I realized. It was like, oh, I don't want to be like that. And
Mhm.
so I think your question is important, and I think it's an important question for us to ask ourselves, right? Because like you don't want to wait until that minute when it's like slapping you in your face of your own mortality, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have like 10 years to live my life real quick. And I think that's part of like why it's so powerful for us to be having these conversations and sharing with people like our age while we're still young, right?
Yes.
Because I do think then there's the alternative of where you can have that realization and then deal with it more how I feel like we're doing of like, yes, I still care about the people in my life. I'm not going to abandon my family and go find myself because I need to put myself first, but I'm going to find pockets during my day that don't harm my family to put myself first, right? And
Yeah.
we might pivot some things. We might rearrange some priorities to better honor me, but it's not at the expense of
Yeah.
people who rely on me or people that I'm like in community with. So I think there's multiple ways to do it, and I think that we get to choose of how we're going to address those types of realizations.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly why I'm so passionate about helping moms with younger kids, especially because I see too many people who their kids are grown and they've lost themselves so much that they're like, well,
Mhm.
now what? And I don't feel like you should even have to wait till that point to then get started. I mean, not saying that it's not possible. Of course it is. Actually, it's probably
Right.
easier, I'm sure. But it's like for us, for those of us in the throes of still being a mother with young kids, it's like, I want to show people what's possible and how it's actually smart to get started now because it prepares you even more for that time when you do have more freedom. You're at such another level then you can really
Yeah,
dive in a new way. And that's my belief around that. And I
yeah,
just like you say, I don't feel like for anyone, whether you're a mom or not, like we shouldn't have to wait and let life pass us by before we open
hmm,
our eyes to realize what we can have. I mean, even just
yeah,
sitting right here right now, I can think, holy crap, how cool is it that my days never really look the same anymore? Like I
hmm,
get to have calls like this throughout my, 1 o'clock in my day or 12 o'clock in my day, or I get to, meet and have an interview with people around the world and have conversations and just, it's like I get to do that now. Why should I have
hmm.
to? Why should any of us have to wait? We all deserve this now. So I love that we get to have these conversations and share this with the world because it is so important to realize like, do it. Just do the
Yeah.
thing. I mean, it's so worth it, no matter how scary it is. It's so worth exploring because you
This is
never
a
know.
whole separate
I
podcast
know. I
episode,
know,
but
right
like
there.
I think it's also so powerful to be on that journey while
Yeah.
your kids are around you and seeing you,
Yeah.
right? Because if you wait till they're gone and then you go through your own journey of like learning how to honor yourself and building your confidence, that's still amazing. But then your kids are also going to have that journey on their own, right? Because
Yeah.
they didn't. But if you're going through it with them, then they get
Yeah.
to benefit from that as well. Like I think there's this false dichotomy where it's like moms taking care of themselves is doing a disservice to children, and I mean I'm not a mom, but like I don't think that's true at all. I think there's a wrong way to do it. I think you could be a selfish asshole mom, but
Yeah.
taking care of yourself and honoring yourself is not inherently like in at odds with
Yeah.
being an incredible mom and taking care of your kids. Like I think more often than not, that's actually a symbiotic relationship because then your kids get to see
What's possible?
that growth and how it works. And yeah,
Yeah, it's another thing I love talking about and love helping moms realize like you're modeling for your kids of what's
yes,
possible for them.
yeah,
Because they're always watching. They're always watching. They learn the
yes,
most by watching you and how you live, how you talk to yourself, how you show up, how you handle things, challenges. They're always watching that. So it's like
hmm,
that's amazing to think about like who I get to pursue my dreams while also like helping my kids to
yes.
believe in themselves in that way just by modeling it. So yeah, you're right. That is a whole nother episode right there. And I love to talk about things like that because I think it's very powerful for so many of us.
Yeah.
I
So
totally agree with both of you of like doing the journey instead of when you have all this time now, you don't know what to do with yourself. And going way back to the feelings part, I'm gonna touch a little bit on the like the journey of like modeling for your kids, but also and doing things that honor yourself, but also with like when you keep going and you do the things you're distracting, you're not feeling any of your feelings when you're with your
mhm,
kids and doing all this stuff. I recently have gone through something super devastating and There are times where I am crying. Do I hide from my children? No, I don't. I cry and they come to me, "What's wrong, mommy? Why are you crying?" And I'm just like, "Ugh, because I'm sad and I just need to shed this out. I just need to cry it out. I just need to do this." And like, I'm gonna be okay, but I'm just gonna cry right now. It's okay to cry for a little bit.
Mhm.
That is super important for me to model for them to not bottle it up
Yes.
because
Yes.
it will come out later. And
Yeah.
so a lot of times we get busy, 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 busy. That's all we're doing, with all the things like taking care of ourselves, but then also honoring your feelings and knowing that it's okay to show them and not hide
Mhm.
it so they can do their feelings also. Because like you said, they're gonna see you before they hear you. Like I just said to them yesterday, I'm like, "Do you hear wah wah wah? Like what's happening? Like I need you to do this. Can we do this? What's
Yeah. Like
happening here?"
words mean things. Like let's.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
am I just making some
Well,
noise? Should I dance around and then you'll notice me a little bit more? Like, what's happening here? They're just like, ugh. And then they did
yeah.
then they did their chore or whatever. But it was just like, it's funny. If you do, they're gonna be like, what's mom doing? What's mom doing? If I ever want to get their attention, I just do something weird.
There you go.
Love that. I
Like,
love
I'll
that.
do it, not say it, but then I do something weird. Like this morning, getting up for the day, I put music on and I'm changing the words that don't make any sense. And my daughter's, I can't. Mom, I'm gonna tell my friends how weird you are. And I was like, tell them. And I'm like dancing and I'm singing. And she's like, that's not
Uh,
how the song goes. And I
You're
was
like,
like,
tell the
it's
world I
okay.
don't care.
Oh, that's
No.
like that's a privilege of being a parent. It's like getting to embarrass your kids, Like we always like to mess with our son with the whole like 6, 7 thing and the
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
skibbity. Their little words like always peak. I
Yeah.
mean, they're slang nowadays, I tell you. But
Yeah.
it's the funniest
Wow.
thing though to get to do. I was like, hey, that's my privilege as a mom. Just like it's their privilege as siblings to do what they do to each other.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I love it. I
that's
love
it.
it. We are getting close to time, so I want to bring it back here. And I do want to see if there's anything else like kind of to close that you want to share. I do want to start us out though. So I think it was you, Mary, who brought up just sitting in discomfort and how powerful that is. And again, a whole separate podcast episode, honestly. But I think that that is so powerful because so often, like, we see discomfort as this huge, like, insurmountable or like bad thing to like avoid at all costs. And I think being okay with the discomfort comes into play in so many factors here. So you were talking about sitting in discomfort and like feeling your feelings, which then ties into honoring your feelings, right? Which then ties into knowing what you want and building your confidence and listening to your voice. Like, so being willing to be uncomfortable. And then it comes back around again, right? Like, if I'm going to take that courageous action, I'm going to be uncomfortable. So realizing like discomfort is not the enemy, it's not something to avoid at all costs, even though that's what we tend to do. So yeah, that's like my final note is discomfort is not the enemy, it's actually such an opportunity for growth. And then when we work through that for ourselves, oh, that's not going to kill you, right? So now when someone else is uncomfortable with me setting a boundary or they're uncomfortable with me honoring my feelings and, whatever, like in a way maybe they're not used to, then now I also know like I've sat with my discomfort. You can sit with this discomfort also, but like that's going to be okay. I'm not harming you. That's not the end of the world. Like, so I just like it, I felt like it just kept being this common thread. And so I wanted to bring that up and share it. And what about you guys? Do we have any final words?
I would just like to reiterate that, you're going to feel some things when you're trying to build your confidence, but if it is
Hmm.
too big, like choose, are you going to do a baby step? Are you going to do a little toe in? Are you going to do a leap? If it
Hmm.
seems too big, just break it down, but you can build it up in such small steps throughout the day that you may not even realize how much you are actually building it just by doing those small steps. The little steps can make a huge difference. So just a reminder that if it feels too big, break it down. Break it down to the sweet spots where you're kind of like, yeah, I want to do it. Okay, wait, maybe not. Like right there, that's the spot. That's the spot where you're like, I'm just gonna little bit, just a little bit, and then it gets easier because you're building it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The steps will get bigger because you're gonna have that confidence to take the steps because you're doing it at that little like nervous, excited spot. So that's the little gem I want to remember.
Love
Yeah.
it.
And for me, it's also knowing that everything we've talking about here between the feel like dealing with our feelings, honoring ourselves, this stuff is not easy, of course, especially when you're getting started. So please know that there are people out there who want to support you through that. You don't have to carry all this alone. You're never meant to. None of us are meant to ever carry a lot of this stuff alone, and yet we somehow do that to ourselves. So if this is resonating with you, if this is something that like, oh, I'm ready to explore, I'm ready to change that narrative of my story, I'm ready to turn my life around, I'm ready to start taking action. Don't be afraid to lean on others, to
Mm.
find support, to invest in yourself, or to just do whatever it takes to get started. Because that's always the hardest part, getting started. But
Yeah.
just believe in yourself, know that you got this. And if you're here, it's for a reason. So listen to that.
So good. I love it. Where can we find you?
I would say the easiest spot is www.igniteddecisions.com. I have everything on there that leads to like my podcast or what have you, or what I'm doing with my group or any of that. Or you can look me up on my podcast, which is Release Your Inner Power Podcast.
And for me, it's .com. Same thing. You can find out more about me and my podcast. You can sign up for a free call with me, as well as the Radiant Mom Rising podcast. You can see on any listening device wherever you tune into on my YouTube channel. So, yeah, come find me. I'm on Instagram a lot. So, yeah, I'm here.
Love it. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok at The Fierce Framework. And my podcast is also at The Fierce Framework on YouTube and where you listen to your podcasts. So, thank you so much for joining me. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Much
Bye.
love. What a powerful conversation. And what I love most about discussions like this is that they remind us that confidence isn't reserved for a special group of people. It's available to every single one of us. Not because we're fearless, but because we're willing. Willing to take the next step, willing to learn, willing to grow, willing to trust ourselves a little more than we did yesterday. And before we wrap up, here are a few powerful reminders I hope you'll carry with you. Confidence is built through action, not waiting. Courage comes first, confidence follows. Self-trust is created through keeping promises to yourself. Small, brave steps often create the biggest transformations. Boundaries are not selfish. They're an act of self-respect. You don't need to eliminate fear to move forward. And every challenge is helping shape the woman you're becoming. If you'd like to learn more about today's amazing panelists, be sure to check out the links in the show notes. And if today's conversation made you realize how much you're capable of, but also how much support matters in the process, I want to invite you to grab my free guide, The AI for Busy Moms, 5 Ways to Simplify Your Business Without Losing Your Authenticity. And if you've been feeling called to something bigger, if you're tired of starting over, if you're ready to stop living from old patterns and start stepping into who you're meant to become, I want to invite you as well to join the waitlist for Identity Reset, because the woman you want to become isn't waiting for confidence, she's waiting for a decision. You'll find both links in the show notes. And if this episode encouraged you today, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another mom who needs to hear this. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for growing alongside us. And until next time, don't wait until you feel fearless to begin. Take that brave step, trust yourself, and watch what becomes possible when you stop waiting for permission and start becoming the woman you were always meant to be. Much love.